channel. If you're new here, welcome. So today I'll be doing a different video. I'll be making candles today. So it's time for me to restock on my online site. So I'm going to show you guys how to make the candles. Today I'm going to focus on pink sugar crystals because I am out of this one. This is one of my best sellers. Every time I add it to the site, it sells out just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more of that, and I'm going to show you guys how to make it. So if you like to see that, just keep on watching. So to make the candles, I need quite a few items, and I want to show you guys what those items are. So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is the wax. This is Golden Brand's 464 soy wax, and that's the only type of wax that I use for my candles is soy. The next thing you're going to need are the wicks. These are what I use to wick my candles, and then you need the wick tabs. So this helps the wicks to stay inside the jars, and these are my jars. Yeah, I love these jars. So you need this. You need a scale because you have to measure out your wax, and you have to measure out your fragrance oil. And the fragrance oil is what I showed you guys earlier, which is the pink sugar crystals. And also you need a little cup. This is what I use to put my fragrance oil in to measure it. And you also need a pot, boiling pot to put the wax in. And you also need another pot to serve as a double boiler to go ahead and melt, because you don't want to put this on the stove because you can burn your wax up. And last but not least, you need thermometers. So I use both of these. This is the digital, and this is the, I guess, the regular one. So this is what that is. So I use both of them. I put one inside here, and then I use this one here when I'm just testing back and forth to make sure the wax is hot enough, because the wax has to melt down to a certain temperature, and then you have to add the fragrance oil at another temperature, and then you have to pour at another temperature. So it's a whole lot of science to this, but it takes a lot of practice, and you have to have a formula together. So I'm going to go ahead and start by measuring out my wax. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my scale, and I measure everything in grams. That's what I do. So you want to tare it so we can go ahead and start pouring. So I'm going to make a total of 5 candles. So I'm going to pour this to 1045. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so here is my wax. I have it at 1045. So now I am going to go ahead and put it in my pot and let it start boiling. So this is the pot that I use to melt my my wax down. And this is the only thing I use this pot for. I only use this pot to melt down my wax and to serve as a double boiler. So I'm going to go ahead and let this melt, and then we're going to go ahead and pour the fragrance once it get down to 185. So that's what it has to melt to. It has to melt to 185. That's how hot it has to be when I pour the fragrance oil in. So I'm going to go ahead and let that melt, and then we're going to go ahead and do the fragrance oil. Okay, so now while the wax is melting, I'm going to go ahead and clean the jars out. I just use rubbing alcohol to clean all the jars out, because when they come, they sometimes have lint and stuff in them. So I mean, not lint, but you know, it like have like the box particles in it. So I just go ahead and clean them all out, inside and out, with rubbing alcohol. So, and this is also how I clean the pan, well, the pot once the wax finished melting. This is what I use. So And this also helps the wick stickers to stick better at the bottom. So you get like a 2-in-1. So I'm going to go through and dry them all out now. And then I'll go ahead and put the wick tabs in them. Okay, so there's several different types of wick tabs, but I love these because they're like not so thick. Like, see, kind of like thin. So I just love these more than the rest of them. Oh, I just pulled it off without tapping it on. So let me show you guys what I'm doing. So I just take this and I just put it on here. And I just take this off and I just try to center it the best I could. And just put it in here. And voila, there you go. So, and then I'll also take the end of this to kind of like press it down really good. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of them. Okay, I forgot to let you guys know that you do need these as well. These are my wick centering tools. This is what I use to center my wicks and also to keep them in place while they are curing. So I use these, and also I forgot to mention earlier that you do need something to stir your wax with once it's finished, to stir the fragrance oil. So you need this. So, and I got this from Amazon. And I got these little wick holder things. I got these from Amazon as well. So you need all of those things as well. I forgot to mention it earlier in the video. So the wax is still melting. Like I said earlier, it has to melt to 185. And once it's melted to 185, then I go ahead and add my fragrance. So I'll show you guys that in a few minutes. So this is what the wax looks like while it's melting. So eventually it's all going to be this clear color once, well, not so clear, but it's going to be kind of yellowish, but everything is going to melt and it's going to be so pretty. I don't know why I like watching it melt, but this is part of the process and I love it. So once all of this finished melting, I will go ahead and add the fragrance oil. So now the wax is completely melted, but the temperature is not at 185, so it is now at 175. I have just a little bit more to go, and then I can go ahead and take it off the heat and go ahead and add the fragrance oil. Since my wax is almost melted, I'm going to go ahead and start pouring my fragrance oil. So like I said earlier, I made everything in grams, so I'm going to go ahead and pour in my fragrance oil. Y'all, this smells so good. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in. Go ahead and take this out. And I'm going to pour in 85 grams. There we go. And sometimes, y'all, that is hard to do. So now I'm going to go ahead and check on the wax, and then we can go ahead and pour the fragrance oil into the wax and start stirring. Okay, so now I have taken the wax off the heat and I am stirring it now. And you have to stir for like at least 2 to 3 minutes in each direction. So I've been turning for a little while. I just realized my camera wasn't recording. So it's almost time for me to stop stirring. And then I'll go ahead and let it sit because it has to get down to 135. So once the temperature get down to 135, then I can go ahead and start pouring at that time. Because if you pour too early or pour too late, you can sometimes cause sinking in your wax after it has cured, and then you have to go back and fix it. And that is a hassle sometimes. I hate when I have to go back and fix like sinkholes or anything. I hate that. I have a heat gun, but I really don't like using the heat gun. I probably had to use the heat gun maybe like a couple times, but y'all, I hate using the heat gun. As a matter of fact, I think the one that I have, I think it probably gets too hot anyway, but I barely have to use it. And then now it's sometimes when it gets to the point if I don't feel like redoing the candle or whatever, I just make a whole new candle and keep it moving and get that one to one of my kids or something. Because it's, even though it has a sinkhole or it's not, the tops are not as smooth or anything, it still burns the same. It does not affect the way the candle burns or anything. It still burns the same. It still smells good. I just want it to look pretty. Like, I like to make pretty candles. So I like for my tops to be flat and even, no bumps, no holes, no anything. So that's why sometimes I just give it to my child, and especially my oldest son. He loves candles and he'll take anything I don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and let this sit. So next time I come back, I will be pouring them in the jars. So now that I have poured them, so I'm going to let them sit overnight, and then tomorrow I'll go ahead and put the lid on them and go ahead and slap the labels on them and then let them cure. So you're supposed to let your candles cure at least 2 weeks, or at least the soy candles, let them cure for like 2 weeks before you burn them. So I normally let them cure before I put them on the site. So they're going to go on the site on, I think, August 21st or 20th. I'll make an announcement when I restock. But you're supposed to let your candles cure at least 2 weeks before you burn them. So that is it for this. So I hope you guys enjoy watching me make my candles. And if you guys like videos like this, let me know and I'll go ahead and make some more. And maybe I'll do a more detailed video the next time. So I'll do that, and maybe I'll show you guys how I make my wax melts and also my room and linen sprays. But that is it for this video. Like I said, if you guys like this video, I need you to give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed. And I'll see you guys in my next one.